Matt Miller said I looked like a big fat pig. Like it's just right there. We choose to carry those little things with us everywhere we go.
When we were at an impressionable state, that they had the power to define our reality for us. And then we spend our whole lives trying to find our own reality.
Do you enjoy not liking your body? Is that something that you like? When you can free up the space that all that self-hatred is occupying in your brain, you can make room for things that bring you joy.
Welcome to the Dealing with Feeling podcast. My name is Marc Brackett. I am the founding director of the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence and author of the new book, Dealing with Feeling. Have you ever struggled with body acceptance? How do you feel when you look in the mirror? As a teenager, I really struggled with body acceptance. I was severely overweight and I was bullied because of it, and it really messed with my development. Today, I had a tremendous conversation with Katie Sturino. Katie is a body acceptance advocate. She is the founder and CEO of Megababe, and she's the author of a fantastic new book called Sunny Side Up. Together, we imagine a world where all people have body acceptance. I just love the conversation, and I think you will too. Please share your comments about the episode, and also subscribe to our channel so that you can learn more about how to deal with your feelings.
We're here. Wow.
Can we take a nice deep breath?
Marc, I didn't log my emotion, but when the thing came up, I was like, this is a full rage log.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yes. Well, anyway, we're going to jump into our conversation. So firstly, how you feeling, Katie?
I'm feeling all the feelings. Like it's morning, I'm overwhelmed. I'm excited. I'm in that on your app. I think I'm in that like high vibe and pleasant
Okay.
feeling. Yeah.
I like that you call it high vibe because we don't call it that, but it sounds better.
That's what I do.
Yeah, you make things real. I like that. Well, just so everybody knows, we met at something called the Winter Institute. And it was a nice moment because you were sharing about your new book, Sunny Side Up, Sunny Up, listen to me.
Yep.
And I was talking about my new book called Dealing with Feeling. And today's going to be a combo of learning about Katie and her book and her brand and also how she deals with feelings.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Great. Yes.
Cool. So firstly, can you just give everybody a little bit of background on who is this woman, Katie Sturino, that I met at some place in Denver?
So I'm the owner of Megababe. Megababe is a personal care product line that tackles quote unquote taboo issues like thigh chafe and boob sweat. I also am a body acceptance advocate on the internet, and I'm an author, which is where we met, as you said. I just put out my first novel, Sunny Side Up. What do all three of those careers have in common? I'm just here to try to help women feel good about themselves. So that's a through line through all my work.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And so I wanted to jump right in terms of, just to be honest, I was in a taxi cab a few weeks ago in the city, and I'm looking down, and all of a sudden I see this woman with, her stick, between her legs.
That's me.
And I was just sort of like, "Hey, I know her." Tell us a little bit about like your boldness. Like I'm just blown away by, like I have this like secret, like I've been a professor for 20 years and I have this like fantasy that I'm going to like dye my hair blonde and I'm going to come out with, a new outfit on stage. And then I show up the same way for the last 20 years. And so I'm curious, like, how do you have that ability and that courage to do this?
I don't know. I think honestly that I may just Lady Gaga style. I was born this way because I don't in my own brain things like applying the thigh rescue that doesn't alarm me as something to be bold about, and that goes on to like the way that I wear swimsuits on the internet or even like jump into new ventures. I'm fearless in that way. That doesn't mean that I don't have lots of fears and
Mhm.
anxieties and issues, but in terms of those types of situations, I just don't have that I don't know what it is, self-consciousness for
Yeah.
better or for worse.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's sort of like, yeah, you're like, I guess in psychology we call it like this public self-consciousness, and you're sort of like, fuck it, like I'm just doing my thing.
But if I go out to lunch with you, I will leave and think about it for like 2 hours and be like, do you think that they thought that that was weird when I said
Uh-huh.
this? Do you think that they liked me? Were they So I have lots of other
Yes.
things.
Well, I'm the same as you, by the way, because when I'm on stage, I transform into this character that I don't even know in real life.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I feel humorous and I feel playful and I just go out there. And then, of course, I go back to my hotel room and I'm like, that wasn't great. You shouldn't have said
yeah,
that. Like
yeah.
you're really trying too hard. You're overcompensating.
Oh my god, yes, that's me, yes, and I'm like, "Oh, that was like, does anyone even care?" Like, yes, yeah, that's me.
So just to jump in and go, I mean, we're gonna start from like Katie the kid to Katie who she is today.
This is exciting.
A lot of my work is in understanding how people develop the skills of emotional intelligence. And I always ask people to describe their own emotional development. So when you think about your childhood, you know, the people that raised you, what do you think were the messages or what did you learn about feelings growing up?
I think I learned, um, that other people's comfort is more important than your own.
Mm,
That's something I think that I have taken. I mean, I definitely felt loved and I felt like supported, but not at the expense of like either looking bad or yeah, or making someone else feel weird, uncomfortable, inappropriate, whatever it is.
mhm. So if I were to ask you to give a title to the movie that described your childhood emotional experiences, what would you call that?
Uh do you wanna say hi to the nice lady? I like it feels like that was always like, I was always standing behind my mom
Mm,
and but, like, being, like, kind of pushed out, you know?
interesting. Because you don't seem like you need any pushing now.
I think I was and I remember that I was shy, really shy, and really antisocial until, like, age 10 or 11.
Hmm,
And but I remember that moment in elementary school because it's like I went from having one friend my whole life, and then suddenly in 5th grade, I think I learned about humor
mhm,
and, like, that you could use humor about yourself, you could use humor about others, and then people liked that. People liked that I could make them laugh, and then that helped me kind of find my social footing.
mm, okay, interesting. And so you've dedicated your life, probably since middle school, my guess, or high school or beyond, to this body acceptance concept. And I just want to say, I admire that because I have always struggled with my own body acceptance. Um, I was abused as a kid, and I think that might have messed with my head and my self perceptions, and
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of bullying as a kid. I was very chunky and overweight, and I remember
Ah,
looking at pictures of myself and just thinking like, "You're ugly, you're disgusting," and the world around me, really
yeah.
was not kind. Um,
No.
and obviously, you're fighting against something in society. You have a purpose, and I'd love
Yeah.
to just hear like, what is your driving purpose in terms of the work you do?
I will say that actually my whole life I was not an advocate for this. I spent all of my middle school years through like my 20s trying to be really small.
Mm,
And it was when I went through something in my personal life, I went through a divorce and I realized through this like new career I was making, that the thin women that I wanted to be like my whole life were actually really unhappy with their bodies.
Mm.
And that like I thought when you became thin that finally you would feel peace. But when I realized that wasn't true, I decided that we were all just living this lie, this
Mhm.
charade, and that like I'm like, hey, do you know that even if you lose that 10 pounds, you're still gonna hate your body? So I started to approach it from a different way and did a lot of self-discovery and like and again talking to different women on the internet and in person, and that's how I got into this work.
Mhm.
And I think through all of that learning and conversation, and I'm going to get to the inner child part of this in a
Sure.
second, which is that I found that just most women, no matter what size they are, and many men too, they are unhappy in their body no matter what they do. And their body is just something to kind of be ignored because they don't like it and they don't want to deal with it and they wish they could change it, but they can't.
Mm.
And I was like, this is a ridiculous outlook that we all have based on nothing, based on media, based on um, culture, these like icons that we have,
Mhm.
which are also all lies. Because did we even know that airbrushing was happening in the 90s and before? Anyway, so that's my big goal, is to help like the concept of self-love change and the concept about what a good body is and like the whole conversation
Mhm.
basically. And then you mentioned just now that you struggled with many things as a child, and I think I deal a lot with people. I'm not a medical professional,
Yeah.
let me just say that right now, but I I deal with a lot of people's emotions, that are healing from, like, those childhood, uh, incidents, especially if you were perceived to be overweight as
Mhm.
a child, sent to Weight Watchers at 10, bullied, had to shop in the women's department. These are just like really common things that I hear, and everyone is like bringing that baggage with them just to present day adult.
Yeah.
So it's like it's all sitting right here on the surface, and I find that to be really interesting. It's like they when you ask people, and sometimes I've done this, release something that was said to you,
Mhm.
everyone has that one thing right at the top of their head. It's like, Matt Miller said I looked like
Yeah.
a big fat pig. Like it's just right there. And I find it so interesting that out of all the things we deal with every day, that we choose to carry those little things with us everywhere we go.
Yeah, I mean, in psychology, we might talk about it as a negativity bias. Like those things are more salient because it's like it means we have to engage in self-protection about that. Like we have to, it's protection is, and so as you were talking, of course, and I was reminiscing in my head, about my childhood. You know, I mean, in terms of like obsession with weight, my mother was
Yeah.
always on a diet on Monday, and then Friday she'd have the pizza party.
Yeah.
And then I have a memory, which is a terrible one, of one. We're Jewish, but we celebrated Hanukkah and Christmas. And at Christmas Eve, like we would open presents. But my parents made me wear one of those like tinfoil outfits and run around the block to sweat before I would open up my presents.
What?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Yes, of course. That's crazy.
Yeah. And so, like,
Yeah.
oh, now I wonder why I have issues looking in the mirror. And it's been a lot of work, and I think so much of this is what happens in our childhoods, right? The programming, the way other,
Yes.
in my view, most of our negative self views are because other people believed when we were at an impressionable state that they had the power to define our reality for us,
Yeah.
and then we spend our whole lives trying to find our own reality.
Yes.
So, how did you
Yes.
find your reality? How did you like, and I'm sure you get this all the time, and please forgive me, is like, are you really happy? Do you really accept your body? That must be a big theme.
Well, you know what? People are always really surprised about that, and I've had a lot of people close to me in my life, like, be like, "But you don't really think you look good."
Yeah.
You know? And,
So sick.
I think the shocking thing is that I actually am happy with my body. I actually do like the way I look, and I do not look in the mirror and criticize myself. I don't. Do I try on like a new piece of clothing and it doesn't look as good as I want it to, or it doesn't fit?
Mhm,
That's a disappointing moment, but I don't spiral about that.
mhm.
That like I have like I said, putting on the swimsuit, applying the thigh rescue, and then now, like, looking at my body and feeling good about myself, those are all in the same
That's great.
place now. So, yes, I do.
And so how do you, like, I know that you're not a therapist, and I know you're not a psychiatrist, but you're out
It's
there
important.
with, writing books about body acceptance and developing
Yeah.
products about this. So what are the things that you encourage people, especially women in your space, how do you get them to switch from self-denigration and criticism to acceptance?
Well, it's a bit of a choice, a little bit. I mean, I think you have to go to real therapy. And I'm also really aware that there's a lot of people on the internet giving, like, advice that should be coming from a
Yeah.
therapist, and they have no
That drives me
credit to do
crazy, by
that.
the way.
Yeah, so I'm openly acknowledging that to you because people are like, "Wow, like, this was therapy for me," and I'm like, "Well, you should also go to therapy. Like,
Mhm.
you should go to real therapy." Um, what were we talking about? I just needed to make sure I was not crediting myself
No,
for
it's
medical
sort of like
advice.
the messaging that you're trying to, I mean, obviously you're not a clinician, but
Yeah.
you're an influencer, and you're a
Yes.
product developer, and you're a book
Yes.
writer, and you're
Yes.
putting out messages to the world of, like, body acceptance.
Oh, yes, I remember what you were saying. How do you get women to
Yeah,
how do you interest women in wanting to change their minds about
correct.
themselves? And I think I think it's that one, like, let's talk about it. Do you enjoy not liking your body? Is that something that you like? Is
Mhm.
that something you want to carry with you your whole life? You want to be 85 years old and saying, "Ugh, I wish I could lose 5 pounds."
Right.
I actually started a series last year where I talked to women in their 70s and 80s about their body image, and I was so sad because I thought I was gonna interview these, like, great bubbies, and they were gonna tell me that they love themselves and that they learned, not to care and all this stuff, and unfortunately, all but I think 1 were unhappy with their body. They didn't
Mm,
wanna look in the mirror. They wanted to lose weight. They wish they looked different in their clothes. And so, like, what I thought was going to be inspirational actually turned into, like, a conversation about, like, "Hey, you think this is gonna go away naturally? It's not.
mhm,
Like, you have to work on it. You have to actively wanna get rid of it, and trust me, when you can free up the space that all that self-hatred is occupying in your brain, you can make room for things that bring you joy or power or things that are going to benefit you."
mhm. Yeah, and I think that's part of it. It is a choice. I like the word you said earlier that, we have the power to choose how we respond to the stimuli that are in front of us.
Yes.
And I think my perspective on this is that from early on, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too
Yes.
dark, you're too light, your nose is too
Yes.
big, your nose is too small. I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
Yes.
And then you start believing it. It's a bit of
Yes.
gaslighting.
Yes.
And then
And then you say those things out loud that you've been taught to think about yourself, and you're like, "Well, my eye color, you know." And
mhm,
people are like, "What are you talking about? Your
right,
eye color." Like, it's these, like, little things that we see as huge flaws that people don't necessarily see that we're carrying around with us. I will also say the 2, like, that extends to me in my work now.
mhm,
People talk about my body all the time, that it's too big. It's like my body's changed recently, and people are like, "Oh, you're too small now." But yet, like, I was too big before, and I was way too like I was too big when I started this, 75 pounds lighter than I am now, and then I got too heavy. Like, it's the conversation around my body from other people is such a topic too that I've had to really block out.
Yeah. Well, I'd love
Yeah.
to go there for a minute in terms of your block,
Yeah.
in terms of um, what are your personal strategies for dealing with the craziness that must come at you with the work you do?
I have so it's interesting. Like, I feel secure in I feel anger. I do love to just flush up in anger when I read something like that. I don't feel my first defense mechanism is not or I don't feel sad initially. I feel anger, and then I'm able to release that because I know it's not like part of my belief system and it's not something that I think is true. I don't believe their words, but I am very sensitive and I'm very susceptible to people criticizing other parts of my life
Yeah.
online. But just not my body cuz that's like my main message here,
Hmm.
you know?
And so, tell me more like this, like when you get this craziness coming at you,
Yeah.
um, like you get angry, which makes sense because that's, in psychology terms, you're perceiving this as an injustice.
Yes.
You're not feeling bad about yourself. You're saying, go blank yourself. Like, who do you think you
Yeah.
are talking to me this way? Like, we don't, blah, blah, blah. Um, but my hunch is that it can be exhausting. Or do you not allow that you just don't even go there?
No, I really don't allow myself to like lean. I don't even go there. I think what I find exhausting are the micro criticisms from people,
Mm,
not necessarily about my body, but about like other things. I don't know how much time you spend in your DMs or like in your comments, but I find people being like, you shouldn't use like this paint, you shouldn't use this fork, like there's so
mhm,
like everything, just so you know, sweetie, like navy and orange are not great together. Like there's a constant
mhm,
parade of like unwanted advice
mhm.
about very small things, and I find that to be exhausting.
Yeah, that makes sense. So obviously, I mean, it's remarkable, really, how resilient you are in terms of dealing with the work that you do in the topic area. And that's the body acceptance piece. But then there is Katie, the entrepreneur. And
Yes.
so my hunch is that like the stuff that you face as a woman leader who's trying to like build a company and sell books, that there's
Yes.
other issues that come up there.
Yes.
Um, you got issues coming from every direction. Um,
I do. Well, I'm hyper and I don't know what this is. No, this is just a therapy session. It's fun. I'm hyper competitive. So it's like in the beauty space, I'm constantly like I'm looking around. I am like, damn it, why'd they win that?
uh-huh.
Damn it, how'd they get there? Oh, like that's and I kind of think that that's what fuels me.
Which is fine. I mean, I think it's
Is that
great.
bad?
Why would it be bad?
I don't know.
No, I think that, I'm similar to you in terms of like,
Okay.
with my work in schools, I always think like, I think that we can do this better. I think that, our model is more interesting. I think that our training is this, like,
Yes.
and like, wait a minute, like they don't know about my work. They have to know about my work, like,
Yeah.
why don't people know about this in a better way?
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know,
I feel that often.
and so then what are you like, when you are, as a leader, in terms of the disappointment or the frustration, or what are your emotion regulation strategies in that domain of your life?
I'm constantly having to regulate my emotions. I am not a flat person. I don't think anyone is, but I'm not someone who's able to keep my emotions inside.
Mhm.
So I'm learning these strategies like up till like the present moment. Like my assistant and I sometimes like we'll just be like, let's take 90 seconds and let that emotion dissolve.
Mm.
So, like, because I'm like, if I'm allowed to react immediately, I'm like, let's just wow, let's do this. Like, I'm so strong in what I'm feeling, but then, like, it's true. About 2 minutes later, I can revisit with a more level head,
Mhm.
but I'm so quick to react,
Yeah.
and it's all out there. It's not like my business partner for Megababe is my best friend from camp. Her name's Kate, and she is able to, like, react internally
Mhm.
and pause and, like, and she got a whole she's thinking about other things, but, like, she's able to keep that mask on in a way that I really struggle with.
Mhm. So you're kind of a I'm not gonna say you're, what's yeah, a little hothead, that's fine. Um,
But I'm a kind hothead. I would never yell at someone, or, like, I would never, like, I don't yell at anyone. I don't, like, call my employees, like, stupid. Like,
yeah,
I'm not that type of hothead, but I'm very reactive.
yeah. And so, again, I wanna push you on this because I want people to learn from
Yeah,
you in
please.
terms of, it seems like one of your strategies is kind of you have a lot of grit, meaning
Oh,
that, it's like this person doesn't want to buy my product, or this person doesn't like the way I'm doing this, or this person, whatever. It's sort of like, get out of my way. Like, next.
get out of my way, and I hate you forever. I add those people to my list of enemies, and then people are I'm on the right now I have a spatula that I made with William Sonoma for the launch of my book Sunny Side Up.
Mhm.
My face is on the door of William Sonoma's all
Wow,
across the country,
look at you.
and then I just posted about it and said,
Mhm.
like, "Can you imagine my enemies, like, so mad to see me on the door of Williams
Like, you've
Sonoma?" And
made it.
people are like, "Who are your enemies?" And my enemies are just anyone who's, like, not on board.
Or anybody who's not happy for your success,
Exactly.
which is also, sad, because there's enough
Yeah,
space for all of us to be successful, right?
but they don't make you feel like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, I'm hearing that there's like this grit, there's this sort of like perseverance thing, but it feels very like I want to get inside your head more. And so,
Well, I don't hear the word "no" also.
okay. So,
What is that?
um I guess that's just another form of I know you're forced, you're making me work hard. Um so it just seems like you're an expert at reframing too. You're just sort of like you're just like changing the story, like, and just changing the story to be the one that keeps you, on the path that you want to go on.
Is that bad?
No, it's great.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think it's fantastic.
Listen, as
Um,
long as I'm not leaving this as, like, diagnosed as a psychopath, I think
no, I think I'm diagnosing you as like a creative genius.
oh, wow. Put it on a bumper sticker. Put that on Williams
There
Sonoma.
you go. Because no, it is a form of creativity. That you're just it's like next, 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 next. Nope, nope, nope,
Yes.
nope. Like your
Yes.
brain is just endlessly. You're like a master brainstormer,
Wow.
don't you think? I don't know. It seems like it.
I don't know, yes. No, yes. It's just that most of my master brainstorming wait, do you watch South Park?
I don't. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay. There's
Yeah.
a new we're just gonna move on.
Mhm.
But anyway, anyone out there who's watching the new season of South Park, it's so good. Um, but the point is that my master brainstorming is often an annoyance to the people around me, I would say, because
Mhm.
I come in with so many ideas, and then I'm not a great executor. So it's like I'm constantly like
Yeah.
pushing new ideas, but like we have to like execute on the ones that we already started on.
But it
Um
seems like you have the people to help you do that.
yes,
And that's
I
I
do.
mean, that's also creative genius, right? Is that because so many creative people that I know in the world, it's like they get lost in their creativity. And,
Mm,
we
yes.
study this at our center. And so it's like your general cognitive ability matters. Obviously, you're smart, clearly. You're creative, great. But you also, don't allow the world and don't allow, your whatever inner critic you might have power over you. And that's really amazing because, so many people who, have all the creative potential in the world can't get out of their own way because they can't handle negative feedback. The feedback just crushes them, or the anxiety around the production crushes them, or figuring out the pieces, that they are not skilled at, just like makes them get overwhelmed and they just give up.
That is the thing, right? Because I feel like I know people who would be better at a lot of the things I do. 'Cause they have, like they're more detail oriented, they would, like, make it look better, they have a great eye, I know people in my life like this, but the fear of what you just said, I think stops a lot of people from pursuing things. But I don't have that, so that's my superpower.
Yeah. But you also seem to have a superpower of kindness and a superpower of, and it's funny because I'm seeing you, you seem like, gosh, you like, I would perceive you as being kind of controlling just because like you're just like, like, but at the same time, you're kind of, my hunch is that you have to be good at delegating.
I do not have control issues. I will give anything to anyone because I'm also a people pleaser. So it's like that is probably why I'm not sure what that has done for me in a negative way, but I think, one of the things I know it does is I often give away my power,
Hmm.
because I want to make people comfortable, I want to make sure people like me, and that is something I'm actively, at the age of 44, actively working on right now, is like trying to harness my power and not just give it away because it's uncomfortable for me.
Yeah. I have the same issue, by the way.
You
I
do?
do. No, because I don't have this desperate need for everybody to like me so much, but I don't ever want other people to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't, like, so if I have to give someone feedback about something, I like, my team says I'm conflict avoidant, that,
Yes. Yes. I will
yeah,
literally be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, 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 I'll be right there." And then,
yeah,
but there's no way I can make it
you
happen,
know,
but, like, I can't say no,
yeah. I have this fantasy
which
of like,
really makes
it'll work itself out, but it tends not to work itself out, as we know.
No. No. Well, this makes me feel better that you have that too, because I look at you and I'm like, "No, that guy is a boss." Like, he knows.
I'm very similar. I think that's part. I'm very mission driven. I am passionate about making sure that, my vision is that every single person gets
Yeah.
an emotion education from preschool until high school, and that they can develop the skills to navigate the complexities of our lives.
The most important thing out there because no one can regulate their own emotions,
It's not looking so good.
right?
I mean, that's the number, even in my most recent research, the number one complaint of kindergarten teachers is that they can't deal with the kids' dysregulation. Yeah.
I mean, same thing with my dad. My niece is 2.5, and he's like, "She's screaming." And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Dad, he's like, "I don't think I was screaming at 2.5." I'm like, "I bet you were." It's just they can't, like, actually physically do it, right? That's
Well, they're not taught. I mean, so, like, you can't
yeah,
do something you're not taught, and, you know, clearly, if you think about my childhood, if my parents are making me run around the block before I can open presents, like, they're probably not the best role models for, like, healthy regulation. So, sort of like, I didn't learn it there. I didn't learn it in school, you know? So,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not, and I think it's because people they're afraid of it. It's a weird
mhm,
concept, you know? It's like art is, you painting, math is like 2 plus 2, science is you remember a microbiome, or I mean, think
yeah,
about the uselessness of some of that in high school, right? And not teaching kids the skills of, like, dealing with friendships and romantic partners and drugs and alcohol, and, like, it's crazy when you think about it.
yeah. No, it's super crazy. It is because actually that is I don't remember anything about anything I learned in high school or any grade for that matter. Like the emotional regulation probably would have helped me a lot more.
So, and let's go back to that for a minute, because the people that will listen to this are really interested in emotional intelligence and developing the skills of emotion management. So we've learned that you are you've got lots of grit, that you are good at reframing, but like the typical day of Katie Sturino, like I can't even imagine what your day looks like between the social media and the meetings and the
Yeah.
running around the streets with your sticks. I'm sorry. It's like I'm just so blown away with the courage to do that. It really is. It's like the self.
Mark,
It's the self that I wish I could be. That I just have to imagine I'm you doing what I'm doing in my way.
Mark, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you that we decided we found, so we're 8 years into Megababe, and it was the first summer we actually ran a commercial on network television, which is like really exciting. And I was like, no, we were like, should we try to do like a professional, like get together with like an agency? No, I decided I wanted to be like the My Pillow guy, not in spirit, but just in like awareness. And I wanted to like show myself throwing a leg up, putting my
Yeah,
chafe stick on, because that's memorable. And
it's
you're
definitely
watching like a
memorable.
random, yeah. And you're like, what's this girl doing? And that worked. I got a lot of negative and positive feedback about that. And I guess what I'm saying is my parents have to watch me do that on TV too. But I'm just trying to destigmatize it and normalize it for someone who might want to do it in a less dramatic fashion
Yeah,
on the side.
like most people aren't walking in the streets doing it. They go to the restroom or they do it when they leave the house. Yeah.
But if you want to, I want to like make that okay for you, and that's why I do it. But I guess I just wanted to tell you about my TV commercial.
Yeah, and I thought it was I saw it. Um,
Oh, you did?
I think it's the one. I mean, I saw the commercial with you in the streets doing the.
On Taxi
Yeah.
TV, that's a different thing.
Okay.
I have different videos every week on Taxi TV.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah,
So
I've
going back to
everywhere.
your emotion, obviously, maybe you just don't even need to regulate. I mean, because you just.
I do, because I'm like I feel so much rage.
All right. So what's your anti-rage strategy?
Marijuana?
Okay.
Like breathing, like I do morning meditation, I move my body. I'm getting into like doing stuff like this, like
Hmm.
moving energy around, jumping, exercising. I got to wear that weighted vest now cuz I'm in perimenopause. Um so it's a lot of physical stuff, I guess, and the meditation, and I also believe a lot of like like I'm into like energy stuff.
Hmm.
Are you into energy stuff?
Not as much. I mean,
That's
I'm
okay.
not like I'm not a new agey kind of
Yeah,
psychologist.
I'm like I'm a little woo woo.
Yeah, that's whatever it
Yeah,
takes. That's if it works to help you have good well-being, then it works. Period.
yeah, great.
Um, and so yeah, no judgment. The All right, I want to go back to leadership though. So, you're trying to get this commercial done or your product at Williams Sonoma. You're getting
Yeah,
and you have men, women, whoever leaders, and you're in these meetings, and how do you manage your emotions at that level as a leader? The
I don't.
frustration, disappointment, you know, like what do you do?
I think it's essential to have a team around me that understands that like I don't know. I don't necessarily lose my cool, or I don't know about emotional management at like the leadership level is not a problem for me. Confrontation is a problem for me.
Hmm.
like, if I don't like something you've done at work, it's really hard for me to, like, give you that feedback.
Yep.
So I think what often happens is I can't give you the feedback because it's my fault. I can't give you the feedback. And then I will continue to get frustrated because the feedback has not been given, and then I kind of pull away. So I think that that's part of what I'm working on, that like
Hmm.
dropping the people pleasing and getting more direct. I think that will help me not be like absent at certain times. Was that too much?
No, I think so many of us in our positions, in leadership positions, are like that, and I think it's a both and. I think that a lot of us get become successful because people like us, and
Yeah.
we're agreeable, and
Yeah.
we're like, yes, 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 even though inside you're like, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Then but then it kind of can hit you, at a certain point where you're saying yes or afraid to say
Yes.
no, and then you're
Yes.
stuck in a weird place with relationships
Yes.
with
Yes.
employees and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's your kind of growth area.
That's what I'm working on,
Okay.
is like being okay with someone else being uncomfortable, giving the feedback, and not always looking like the good guy.
Hmm. So we're going to jump now to kind of like the last little bit of our time together. And
Okay.
you wrote this book called Sunny Side Up. That's kind of
Yes.
that's how we met again. And, it's related to your product because it's really kind of this package, I think that's so beautiful about, the messaging you're trying to create in the world.
Yeah.
So, what's been, you've had interesting reactions to your product line. Say
Yes.
more about the reactions to this book and how it's supporting people.
So Sunny, I wanted to write a rom-com that is, like loosely based on my life. And I wrote it because when I got divorced, I know I mentioned the divorce earlier. When I was going through that, I really couldn't find anything in pop culture that I could relate to. There were no characters out there that were like big and beautiful and having a really cool life. And I wanted to put someone out there that people could really grab onto. And I think for the people that want it, like Sunny is and has been like an inspiration. I have been getting messages every single day from people who are like, you like, I just finished Sunny. I couldn't put it down. I read it in one day. And then you go into like, because like people love to give you bad reviews. You go into the bad reviews and people are like, this is unrealistic. A woman of this size would never have this life.
Mm,
And I'm like, but I did. So I think that is so interesting
hmm.
because it's women criticizing the unrealistic basis of a romantic comedy when the basis of most romantic comedies are unrealistic.
Hmm.
But the reason for this one being unrealistic is her size. So I think that that is really something to note. But
Yeah.
I want to get this made into a show, into a movie, into something with more visual representation. Because I think this character would be epic on the
Hmm.
screen.
And so you get the praise for Sunny, and then you
Yeah.
get the negative comments that could drive you out of your mind.
Yeah.
And the negative comments, you see them, and what's your automatic response?
I fucking hate you.
And that's it. And then you move on.
No, and I think that part of what I do is like I'm able to unpack some of those negative experiences with my audience, with my community. Um, and then we're able to have meaningful
Hmm.
conversations because it's like, why is this unrealistic? Like, what does that mean? I think that may be another skill I have, taking something negative and just turning it into a thing that we can all unpack together that can be helpful.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Challenging other people's views and things of that sort.
Yes. Yeah. But it's frustrating as hell. Especially because so much work goes into a book, as you know. And then to have like I don't know. I'll never write a negative review about a book again
Hmm.
in my life.
Um, all right. So, Katie, if I were to pull like our work together, which I do see, I see it very aligned, because you're trying to create a world where there is kind of endless body acceptance and
Sure.
positivity. And
Yeah.
I know that there are barriers to that from my own life and from all the things that we've talked about. And so
Yeah.
we need to develop, in my world, the skills of emotion regulation, right, to help people deal with the inevitable pushback, whether it be about our bodies or the way we act in meetings or
Yes.
whatever it is. And so what
Yeah.
I'd like you to do is to imagine a world where all people, from preschools to CEOs, develop the skills of emotional intelligence and have this body acceptance. So just take a moment. I'd like you to imagine a world where all people, we've gotten to the point where all the things that you care about and the messages that you've created are baked into how we raise kids and teach kids. And they also have these critical skills. What do you see different about the world we're living in?
Everything. Everything. I think so many of the wow, if you had emotional regulation, you wouldn't have bullying happening, right? I think so many of the and the bullying that happens around bodies is like a big part of it. That's like something huge. Uh just feels like there'd be a lot less violence. That's the initial thing that comes up for me
Mm-hmm.
is that violence is like a real issue to be
Mm-hmm.
eliminated. Because you're not violent if you're like able to regulate yourself, and if there's no bullying, because so often like I feel as though the people doing a lot of these shootings, they're either from the military or they've had this like horrific bullying
Mm-hmm.
happen to them, or even so many of the dark things that we see and read about people going through are they're yeah, yes, everything is different.
So that's the negative stuff that's no longer present. But what do you see in terms of the positive side of things that's different?
You can do anything. It feels like the world is open. That is it feels like oh, I don't know why it all goes so utopia for me, but it's like we'd be able to channel all of our energy into more positive things. So it's like would we have been able to like solve like ocean health or like things with the environment, or like would we have gotten to I feel like you would get so much more done in a positive and productive way.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel and see.
Love it. The thing that came to mind as I was asking you, I was trying to respond for you.
Oh, what did I say?
you you said that there's just less shame in the world. I don't know why that's what came up
Oh,
for me.
no, but you're correct. That's probably what I should have said, but that's correct. And without shame, what do we do? We have like less addiction, right? Like I feel like there's less things
Hmm.
to like run from.
Yeah.
So so instead of running from, you're running towards and like doing good things.
Yeah.
There's still bad people,
Yeah, of
but
course.
I feel like wow, what a difference. So many less lies.
Hmm.
I don't know. Sounds good. Are you doing this? Can you like are you changing like the school
That's the
system?
goal, right? That's our goal.
Yes. Yeah. Let's go on a road show.
Let's do it. So, Katie, how do people learn more about you so that they can learn about your book and your products and just you in general?
Yeah, so you can find me at Katie Sturino on Instagram and TikTok, and then Megababe is sold at Target, Ulta, and Walmart, or on our website, megababebeauty.com. And then my book is called Sunny Side Up, and you can purchase it anywhere that you can buy books.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I just love talking with you.
Same.